1 second. Are we doing?
Good evening. Welcome to this instant reaction show. We're going to talk about this win, 27-24 over the Auburn Tigers. We're going to talk about it right now. Well, here we go. Here we go. Fresh.
What does Maverick have to say about this? I'll tell you what. I'll say this: 14 points off the board. They were legitimate. Missed field goal. Reichard hurt big, but
yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to talk about missed calls. I mean, stuff happens all the time. We got called on two that were there, but very impactful. And a lot of people are going to call on the touchdown pass at the very end for Alabama, a push off. They were handsy all the way. I don't want to hear it.
That wasn't anywhere
Y'all
close to
had us the game. It was. Let me back this up. It was 4th and goal from the 31. All you have to do is put it in front of you. That's all you got to do. And you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. I don't want to hear any complaints. I don't want to hear nothing. Okay, there was the worst. I'll say this. It's the only thing I got for Auburn right here. The worst no call of all time on the kickoff, where a face mask happened. It did. Alabama should have been called for it, but there was a block in the back that was called against Auburn. Agreed. Terrible call. Shouldn't have happened. Should have been offsetting. Kickoff should have re-ensued. Agreed. But there was some terrible no calls. Again, I mean, if anybody wants to say Alabama was benefited in this game by penalties, no. Go look back at it. Go look back at it. We were penalized more than Auburn the whole game.
Yeah, so, here's the deal with that the no call on the face mask. I mean, that would have been offsetting. So after the penalty, Auburn had it 1st and 10 from what, the 5? Agreed. So if they offset that penalty, Auburn's got it 1st and 10 from the 10. So that was like 5 yards difference.
Oh, we got somebody else. Who we got? Somebody else popped in. Oh, look at it's Price.
Have here.
What's
Price
up?
Everett, the Auburn guy, myself, friend from. This is a guy. No, hey Jeff, this is Price Everett, the guy from big Auburn guy from high school. He's the other PE, as we call it. Same initials as me, but the guy is a diehard Auburn guy, and we were texting during the game. We're big buddies, but I invited him on. Give him a link tonight.
I ain't texting none of my Auburn friends during that game. Sorry.
No, I know. He's the only one that did. And you know what? I was like, I wanted to get his insight on it because I actually saw him last week in the game against New Mexico State. I saw him, and I want his opinion on some stuff tonight. So, Price, take it away.
Sure. I guess first and foremost, we'll get this out of the way. It pains me a little bit to say it, but congrats to Alabama. As you got the W.
It's not how I wanted it, but I'll take it.
Absolutely insane win at the end, but what else could happen?
How did he complete that throw? I still have no idea.
I don't know.
That was just insane.
It was a crazy throw, a crazy catch. Second, I do think we played a lot better this week than we did against New Mexico State. I really wish
that wasn't theory on that.
But it is true. It's definitely true. But you guys won the game. Obviously, congratulations to that. Alabama wins the 2023 Iron Bowl. But honestly, and again, just kind of thinking about it, if we hadn't muffed that punt,
that's
huge. It was huge. It was a huge momentum change in the game.
Huge play.
I mean,
I think we would have
it was
easy.
no. I mean, like I completely agree with it. Like we're going to the last. We're going to the last what 50 seconds of the game, and
Roughly.
we're punting it back to Auburn, and they muff it, and like the game was over. We're gonna lose. Like I leaned over to my fiance and said, "This is over. This is the end. All right, this is where you just cut it off." And then Bryce, you sent me that text, and unfortunately, were you at the game or were you watching it or what?
I was not at the game this week. I was at the New Mexico State game this week. I was not at the game this week.
Gotcha.
And I was watching it on TV. So whatever,
Same.
delays there,
so
TV delays, but yeah, I mean, it was.
You sent me a text that said pain. There is nothing but just pain.
There's pain.
And I said, and my Star Wars reference, which Jeff will love, is pain leads to hate. And then I was waiting for your response, but it never came.
Hate leads to anger.
Hate leads to
anger.
The Star Wars.
So it always makes
its much fear in you.
Yeah, there was a lot at the end. I truly, it was.
I tell you this.
As soon as the ball dropped hands, my stomach dropped out. Like it was just, as soon as that happened, I immediately thought, well, that's it.
When Milroe threw that ball, the way it looked when it went off the screen, the angle that it was, I thought it was like way high.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just looked down and was like, that's going 10 yards out of bounds.
It was crazy.
And sure enough, it came down the back corner. I said, I'll be gosh dang, man. Like,
Milroe's absolute stud.
Give me a second. I'm sorry. 1 second. I'm having some tech issues. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. Y'all go ahead if y'all need.
All right, we're gonna get Parker straightened out. So this is Price, Auburn fan, sad Auburn fan. So we're talking instant reactions about how Auburn had this game in the bag for most of the fourth quarter, and the muff punt was huge. There were so many big things in this game, like the holding call on Dupree, because Bama goes up 14-0 in that game relatively easily. I think that gets out of hand, but it comes back. We don't score. Auburn goes right down the field, running the ball, and scores and ties it at 7. And it was a football game after that. It was hold on to your pants. But
I think across the board, the getting awful.
Yes, I would agree with that.
You had missed calls here. That mask in the I think it was the early second quarter, or maybe it was either in the first quarter. We know what I'm talking about, the big face mask call they just didn't call. How'd that happen? But then later, it was just bad officiating all around.
Bad Crue. I don't see how this Crue gets big games.
They're a terrible Crue.
And
they've been suspended previously.
Yeah, you can go back several games
every single week.
You can go back and pick games out with these guys that are just missing clear stuff.
It was.
Both ways too. It was like both sides we're just scratching our head. Like,
and there was bad calls both ends, both ends of the game, and it was. It was calls that made you go, how did you not see that? Or versus did you? Like that did it was a whole. Yeah. It was a whole thing, but the officiating was all over the place. I thought that even after the muff punt too, I think one of the things that makes me the most upset is how do you not load the box on that last play? We have to do that 31-yard pass into the end zone, and we bring 3 guys?
I think we only ran 2. I think they rushed 2.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, 2 or 3 rushed. That's it.
I'm just thinking of any time of the game where you bring the house.
Yeah.
Play. And they took a timeout beforehand, and they decided to not bring the house. I'll never understand.
Just drop 9, rush 2, and try to knock it down.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, you're just watching him stand back there, and you're just counting 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yep.
And then he just chucks it. But here's another. Okay, y'all. Auburn got to face the tentative Milroe tonight. The one that wasn't decisive with a lot of his runs. the ones that didn't commit to just tucking the ball and running when the pocket broke down. You got the guy that waiting. It's going to break. It's going to open. Waiting. Oh shit. Now I got to go somewhere. And then, flick it away or, when the pocket breaks and he just takes off, you can't
almost unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
No, it is. And I was
he did not do that to me.
Honestly, because, well, first of all, this is credit, I think, to Alabama's offensive line. There was a lot of plays. He had a lot of time. And part of me is almost kind of like, well, is it because he had so much time? Is that what made him more hesitant? Like, I don't know. But I'm glad we got the more hesitant Milroe tonight because
it worked out good for you guys. It kept you in the game.
Honestly, but because the guy's a stud.
I think it kept you in the game.
The guy's an absolute stud. I mean, there's behind that. He's a great player, athletic. But I mean, I think a lot of the game tonight really came down to the line of scrimmage, and in a lot of the ways, our defense not really being able to penetrate that offensive line and get a big play because I mean we weren't really getting big defensive play at all in the first half. It was, we'd get a third down, but a lot of our bigger defensive plays came in the second half of the game.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely big props to Alabama's offensive. Did their job.
I could not believe with the ease that Auburn was running the ball all game. I mean, they had 185 yards rushing at halftime. Like
the read options killed us.
Just
in the second
killing
half,
us,
too.
dude. Just killing us, man. Like,
Darquez Hunter
brutal.
and I mean, it's a
Hunter is who I was worried about on y'all's
Hunter,
offense. That's who worried me.
And I mean, I think this is me a little bit of a fanboy in me, but I think when you have somebody like Williams, running back coach, I mean, we have a great. Our running back room is probably our biggest offensive asset.
You got some good running backs.
You
definitely got some good running backs.
Definitely what I hope we build upon. Building up our offensive line, getting the right quarterback in place where we can really push the run where we need to push it because we have the guys to do it. We just need to get.
Yeah. I would agree with that. You got good running backs, but Hunter's who had me worried, and then he started trucking, and we were he was
rumbling,
just space, wide open space. He would get through that first wave, and then he was just days, running for days, and then that stinking quarterback draw, man. Quarterback run. It's like all game. This is what we see. Peyton Thorne off and running, like Jaden Daniels off and running, just take off running. I just was like.
Poor Tim Smith. I don't think he read a single one of those little option plays correctly the whole game.
He guessed wrong the entire game, and it was disastrous.
Yeah, especially like when we're looking at this, weeks from now, months from now, whatever. This was a great game of football, like overall.
Classic football game. Great football game.
Great game, but I mean, just in the moment, especially just when he. When he threw that last touchdown, you guys won the game. I mean, that hurt. That was painful.
I could barely watch that fourth down throw. I could almost not even watch it. I just couldn't even bring myself. And finally, I just kind of looked up, and I had gone into the other room at my uncle's house at this point, and I was like peeking around the corner at the TV because if we lost the game, I didn't want to be seen just like slumping down in the chair. Like,
I will say, once I saw how much zip he put on that ball, I knew it was a house call because there's no way you're zipping it in there unless you see something. And it ended up being a perfect throw and a better catch. But
well, I was telling Price, I said, the angle when he let it go, it looked like it went too high just by the angle that it left the TV screen.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh man, it looked like that one got away from him, and then just an unbelievable catch, an unbelievable throw,
ball,
just all the way around. Because number 4 was all over him. I mean, they were all over each other. They were boxing down there, but let them play at that point. If they're both fighting down there, let them play.
And of course, right there at the end, pathetic, like just with the fumble and all that stuff. I think they had. Players just give a point there.
No timeouts. You're just trying to get the ball off to start the laterals and all that stuff, and then Thorne threw it directly to Arnold to end the game.
And again, I still don't understand why we took that last time out there at the end just to decide to not load the box up. I thought that was
interesting.
There's a lot of times in the season where I've gone, now why did you make that play call? Now why is it? And again, I was not, admittedly, I wasn't coming into the season being like, all right, this is it, we're back, baby. Like immediately, I was like, okay, as at best, this is a rebuild.
Yeah,
at best, it's a rebuilding year, and we're bowl eligible, which is great. That's better than last season, so we've improved. But it just kind of feels sad in the sense that you're kind of like, all right, we're bowl eligible. That's great. I love that, and it's like, no,
Bryce,
and I look at it like, okay, bowl eligible. Hugh Freeze first year. You know what? That's fine. I mean, the expectations were too high, and to think that they were gonna, go to make a 9-win season. I mean, the guy when he left,
quarterback, he'll be all right.
Yes, he's going to be fine. In defense, the defense showed it today. Okay,
and I've seen the playoff every year, but he'll compete.
Yeah. No. I think you're looking. I mean, just being honest, as an Auburn fan, I'm looking at Hugh Freeze and looking at his past records, like at Ole Miss, at Liberty. I think when you're looking at Hugh Freeze, you're looking at a max 9 to 10 win season. He'll win some really big rivalry games here or there. He's going to lose to somebody he really shouldn't lose to, New Mexico State, and
I have my ideology on that game, being you and I were both at that game, Price. So I have my thoughts on that game.
I think y'all threw that game. That's my opinion.
I do. I really do. Because as an Auburn fan, you should be pissed because you go out and put up that effort that happened. I mean, you should. You should.
Yeah.
This is why this game made me nuts, because even though we won, Auburn won because they competed, and and that was a win for y'all in terms of recruiting and just anything, that you were competitive against Georgia, and you're competitive, like you were stayed on the field with Bama. So whether you won or lost, you won.
Sure.
Because especially after last week, everybody left you for dead.
Right.
Even I thought that we were going to win by 4 touchdowns. I was thinking that y'all just would never be able to stop Milroe.
Everybody wanted to believe me. Everybody wanted to say
the running game. Except Milroe didn't run for whatever reason. He didn't run tonight, but a few times.
He didn't have to, because I mean, if you look at what he did,
you were losing,
like passing wise, I mean, it wasn't on him that he didn't run. It wasn't on that.
It's on him to decide to run or not. What do you mean it's not?
Yeah, he was holding the ball for. I mean, there was times where he had 30 yards of green, and he was just sitting back there.
I'll say this: before the 4th and goal from the 31, my brother and I looked at the play, and I was like, he had at least 15 yards he could have gained on the run on him.
Oh, he could have. Yeah,
that one on the sideline where he rolled the sideline and then backed up and threw it and got that flag. He could have run for 25 yards.
It was exactly.
Like, what are you looking at, dude? Just go.
So a couple of them, yes, but not all of it. I mean, look at you want to get mad and everything. Look at the defense. They had 3 different people who had over 80 yards rushing. Okay, for Auburn, Bryce. There you go. Had 3 people for over.
That wouldn't matter.
I want everybody to listen.
That doesn't matter.
80 yards. 3 people.
Yeah, that was last year too. That's not a big deal.
They had a running.
Milroe runs. All that means nothing.
I'm a huge Milroe supporter. I've been
way
more supportive than most people on this podcast.
Yes, you have.
Indecisive
from the start.
This week.
He was old Milroe.
Yes.
For 2.5 quarters.
Tentative Milroe is what I call him.
He was.
You're right.
There was it's like, okay, some of the plays he shouldn't have run or he couldn't have run, fine. But whenever that's his greatest asset, and he passes up on it, just those 4 or 5 times. I mean, those may have been house calls with his speed, his agility.
Absolutely.
The one where he was like 3 yards past the line and threw that touchdown.
That was
Black. He's got the touchdown.
Now I got to hear from the Auburn fan.
Sure.
What's your thoughts on maybe a couple of play calls on the Auburn offensive side versus the Alabama offensive side. Like, obviously, you saw, Price, his Milrose abilities and what he can do on the ground, but Thorne. And then at the end, into the second half, y'all decided to throw Ashford into it to throw that little wrinkle dink in it, which I think he's a better runner than Thorne, but at that point in the game, but I don't know. So give me your take.
Well, honestly, I think that's been a problem all season as they were trying to do this dual quarterback thing where they're basically like Peyton's the thrower, Robbie's the runner. But it ended up turning out where, Thorne, I think Robbie's a better runner than Thorne, but Thorne can run.
Yes.
He can run very well.
And he did very well against us.
Yeah, and he did really well against Arkansas. I mean, he put up huge numbers against Arkansas. And we basically we settled on Thorne. Thorne's QB1. And we went into this game, we went into New Mexico State, he was QB1. Went into this game, he was being QB1. And do I think he made some bad passes? Absolutely. But I think we definitely had drops by our receivers where they should have caught the ball. Definitely. But we had our quarterback. And then all of a sudden they decided to bring Robbie in, and I don't think Robbie's been on the field in like 3 games. And
the last time I even saw him.
I love Robbie.
Agree.
Robbie's great, but like what we had was working, why switch that up? I don't understand that. And then because of that, we lost a timeout because of that transition, that they weren't able to get that. So we had to take a timeout because of that, which has been a problem all season of us having to take timeouts when we didn't need to take a timeout. It was just, it's play calling that I'm not a fan of. I don't, our offensive coordinator, Philip Montgomery, I thought he'd kind of figured it out the last couple of games, and then we went into New Mexico State, and that was a disaster. And then tonight, I thought overall the play calling was like fine. It wasn't great. It was okay at best. I don't know. I don't understand why they brought Robbie in when they did. I thought we had a good thing going, and they decided to be cute.
Yeah, and then he got blown up on that one play, lost like 4 yards, and that just killed the whole momentum of that drive for you guys. So
absolutely, and I don't know why they decided to do that. It wasn't like Peyton had started like throwing interceptions, and they're like, okay,
no. And I thought Peyton was doing very fine. I mean, he was moving it. He was doing fine, and I get. Let me change this. I get maybe why they wanted to try it, but I don't get the logistics of it, if that makes sense, because I feel like Thorne was doing just enough, if not better, than Robbie was on the ground.
Absolutely. And we had a rhythm going, and it just kind of disrupts that rhythm you had to try to start a new rhythm. And if that new rhythm doesn't work, you got to put the old guy back in. And it was that, and I don't know. I don't understand. Did they put Robbie in?
I guess the fact that we were getting gashed defensively by that was maybe they were thinking, if we can get Ashford in some space, this is trouble.
Change of pace. These guys are winded.
We just happened to defend it perfect the couple times they brought him in.
Right, and I mean, and I'll agree to the fact that if you give Robbie Ashford an open field,
agreed.
He's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the wheels.
He's got wheels, but
yes.
The thing is, and again, I like Robbie, but are his wheels so much better than Peyton Thorne's wheels that you need to sub him in? And I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think they're good.
So. I think they might be a smidge above him,
but it's not worth ruining tempo and ruining your rhythm for.
Agreed. Because I think Thorne's a better passer, no doubt. I know everybody wanted to crap on him last week and everything. And you and I, as I said, you and I were both at that game. I don't think it was on him. It was on the defense and lack of preparation. Everybody was preparing for this game right here, right now.
It's been very strange with this Auburn defense this year because I would say other than last week at New Mexico State, the Texas A&M game, and the LSU game, the defense has been the star of the show on our team.
Agreed.
Honestly.
Said it all season. Everybody can go back to those episodes and say that I have said that Auburn's defense has been a dynamite. Injuries have hurt them big time.
Very badly, for sure. But, the defense has been the highlight of the season. Also, especially since we were getting at least a turnover a game, if not more, until the New Mexico State game. And, the defense has been very, very, very solid, except for LSU, A&M, and New Mexico State. I'll contend that the defense was very, very good tonight, except for the last play of the game, virtually. Right?
Yeah.
I think our defense was very solid because Alabama's got a great offense, and the fact that we held you guys to 27? That's pretty good.
Yes.
Agreed.
You held Georgia.
You held
Georgia too.
Georgia, what was it?
28-20.
Yeah,
28-20.
That Georgia, which is crazy.
That Georgia offense is legit, and we're in trouble next week unless we figure out some of our stuff early. Unless we play this.
Yeah.
Unless we play a complete game.
Well, we'll be better next week. But
I hope so.
This isn't a slight at Hugh Freeze either, but we're not going into a game where we're playing kind of a gimmicky offense where he's going to do all these little weird things and these strange formations and things we haven't seen yet.
I just hope Lad McConkey doesn't bust us for about 7 years.
It's a more pro-style offense. It's a strong run game. We know what we have to do going into this game to stop them.
And
that's a credit to Hugh Freeze.
Hold on. Let's go with Price.
It's hard to plan against.
I'm fine with that.
But,
I don't.
Price, what you got?
I was just saying, y'all can say whatever you want about Hugh Freeze in front of me. I don't care. That's fine. I didn't love the hire in the first place, so it's all good.
I'm not a hater.
I'm not a hater, but I'm not.
He's hard
from a coaching
he's very hard to prepare for.
He's a good recruiter. He's a really good.
Especially if he has a good quarterback, he's very difficult to prepare for.
It's this as Auburn's got to figure out this, Price. It's a difference between business and professional. Sure. Obviously, you have got to be more professional and on the business side, but honestly, in today's game, we look back at 7 years ago when all that crazy shit happened. Excuse my French, whoever watches this, but the game has changed, and I'm not a big fan of all the escapades and everything that's happened, but that's the way it is, and that's it. That's life.
I think I agree with you, but I think even putting that aside, I look at Hugh Freeze and I said, that is you guys know about Pokemon, how you have a shiny Pokemon where it's the same Pokemon but it's a different color?
Sure, yeah.
Hugh Freeze is shiny Gus Malzahn.
Okay. Hey, I've always said he's a great offensive-minded guy.
I always thought they were very similar.
He's shiny, and I liked Gus. I thought we got rid of Gus way before we should have, but that rare.
Especially to hire Harzin, that was
horrible. You sign Gus to an extension, and then Harsin in that contract. It was not good, not good at all.
It's not like A&M Fisher loss of money bad, but it's not good.
You had them both together, not good.
It's not good.
Yeah. And we got good. $50 million right there. Is that right?
Yeah.
Harsin and the buyout for Malzahn?
I think it's roughly that. Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's roughly that. And we have the yellow fella, right? I get that he's got the money, but come on, man. Anyway, that's a whole discussion for another day.
That's all you need right there. Auburn fans, you heard it from an Auburn fan himself. You heard it.
Yeah. All you need is the yellow fella.
It ain't about just money, all right? It's about money well invested. And A&M's learning.
Yeah.
Florida's learning. Florida's learning. Yes, A&M is really learning.
They're really learning.
Florida's learning from the past couple hires that they've made. It hadn't been great.
Yep.
So, it comes back to it. Price, you get your statement in. Go ahead. I know you want to say something.
Who knows? It's year one of Hugh Freeze. Anything could happen, right? We never know. It could be Hugh Freeze could be here for two more years. He could be here for 10 more. I don't know.
I'd say hold out judgment. Auburn fans out there, even Price, I'll say this, and I'm not a negative guy when I come to it. If anybody on this podcast, me being the most non-biased person, is hold out hope. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold out hope. Give it at least 3 seasons because Harsin was never going to be the fix.
No, he wasn't. And
he wasn't.
He definitely wasn't. And like, I think too, this is not like, we don't need to get our pitchforks and our torches after year 1 or year 2. I mean, that obviously I'm not on that camp by any, but,
well, ask Jeff on, longevity of people they shouldn't keep. He is a person who hates being a Steelers fan. Matt Canada being OC for the Steelers. Ask Jeff. He's right here with you. Look at his reaction to what keeping Matt Canada OC.
That name no longer has any meaning for me.
How long was he OC for?
3 years.
3 years.
It's terrible.
2.5. This would have been the end of his 3rd year.
God bless. I mean, good.
Should have been fired 2 years ago. Definitely should have been fired after last year.
Yeah.
But he's fired now, so I only look forward.
If you think this is just a Bama thing, Price, he's got an ultra grudge with the Steelers, all right? Him and Fonzie. Fonzie's from Pittsburgh. You just saw him a little while ago. He is from Pittsburgh, so that's a whole nother lifestyle that you and I have no clue on what that life is. This is our closest thing.
I kind of picked my NFL team because I like Nashville, so I was like, I'll be a Titans fan, and that's kind of my extent.
Fair.
Like, I know some.
But
some that have done that.
Scott lives in Nashville, so he's kind of he's in that kind of pool.
Yeah.
But Hunter wasn't able to join tonight. Neither was Cameron. Cameron said he was having a good time because of everything that happened.
Cameron
won't judge him
joining this show months ago.
Yeah, well,
it's more of a story when he does come on than when he doesn't.
It's a go ahead, Bryce.
How are you guys feeling about the SEC championship game? How are you guys feeling with that Georgia matchup? I'm really curious.
So I feel better for exactly the reason Fonzie said, because we know what we're getting with Georgia. We match up better with Georgia. You know, we've been around the block with Georgia. Hugh Freeze is a difficult coach to prepare for with their multiple looks, their multiple formations, multiple things out of different formations, out of the same formation. Yeah. He's a hard coach to prepare for. I'm not saying that Kirby is easy and that Georgia's easy to prepare for, but for Alabama, I think we match up better with Georgia.
Yeah,
in terms of what they do. So this stretch reminds me a lot of 21, where we went into Jordan-Hare, looked terrible, won late, and then went into Atlanta and
dominated.
You know, street effed Georgia that night. You know, which we lost in the championship game a month later that season. But that night, the championship game, you know, we were ready for that team, and we smoked that team. And
this year's different.
This year, I think. Different. Very similar, that we survived Jordan-Hare, played terribly and won, had to win it at the end, not in overtime, but right there at the end, had to escape with our life. And now the only game we've wanted since 21 championship game is this game coming up Saturday.
Agreed.
So I think it'll be you'll see a much different Alabama team. Because I think a lot of more time has been spent prepping for Georgia and what they do offensively, which, like I said, is not easy to defend, but it's a lot more straight up.
Easier to plan for.
But you just got to execute then against elite athletes, which sometimes doesn't work.
Which is what I was worried about going into that game against Auburn, and Price can help on this too. Jeff, you know it too, with Hugh Freeze and his offensive calls and his different formations and everything that he calls.
Agreed, Matthew. Agreed.
Oh, I agreed, Matthew. Yes. I don't think Georgia rushes like Auburn did. because Auburn had a couple different rushes that we probably haven't seen all year, and
Robert likes his rushing schemes. He really does.
Think about it. And it was big time, and it showed. Like, yes, they did. Okay, I think Auburn sacked Milroe twice, maybe two or three times, and those are some good calls. Like, it was, they just knew their calls, and then a couple of them, I was like, okay, well, they just weren't good plays. However, it was, but I agree to Matt's statement, who just came up, that Auburn or Georgia doesn't call those kind of plays, maybe because they feel like they have the better athletes to make those kind of plays, that they don't have to make those calls. But maybe I'm hoping we can find a mismatch somewhere. I am worried about the it's just shocking to say this. I am worried about their offense. After this game and all the stuff that has happened, an Auburn fan being here, a witness to us saying this, I'm a little bit worried. Ladd McConkey, Auburn didn't get to see him too much. He was hurt with the back injury, but they got all of Brock Bowers, and then he got hurt a week later.
Yep.
Now they get both back 100%. I don't know if they're both at 100%, but it doesn't matter.
That's a depth.
It's about as good as you can get from the SEC. It's 12-0 versus 11-1. It's best versus best, and that's what we're going to lead into. Price, I don't know how much you got to say into it. Just from, let me say this: we like to get our overview at the end of the season like this. Let's take it back.
All right.
Jeff, I don't know how far you want to take it back on this, but just a glance over the season. This is the last SEC West game that we'll ever get to have.
Yeah.
So we everybody just, I'll take my glasses off.
The last CBS broadcast, thank God.
CBS,
we don't have to listen to Gary Danielson.
No more Gary.
Alabama
no
games.
more Brad. It's all
ABC
games.
I think that's the one thing Auburn Alabama fans can always come together on is we are all open to being over with CBS. That's okay.
Yes.
CBS.
Agreed.
Now, if they could just add that intro, the music,
that'd be fine.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I mean, my brother Landon Price asked Benna what she thinks of Landon.
Mom loves Landon.
Of course she does. Of course.
Please, you know that.
I'm the best. It's okay.
Yeah, you're.
I know McClellan left.
Downs is hurt. Yeah.
I know McClellan was in crutches at the end of the game. I'm not sure if that's precautionary.
You know what? If McClellan is hurt, I'm okay. If it's Downs, I'm scared in that aspect because McClellan, we've got Roy Dell being our number one. Jam is a freak. And then we got Justice behind him and another freshman behind him who have not had any touches and are fresh and are ready to roll. Now, I do got to, I know we're focusing a lot on Alabama, but we do have an Auburn fan with us. So I got to give a little bit on to Price here, Jeff, and I'm sorry for instant reaction.
Is this another one of your Auburn Love Fest, Parker?
No.
Am I going to have to bump you out of here because of your Auburn Love Fest you go on?
No.
Because I'll bump your ass out of here. Trust me.
Hey. What are you going to do without Maverick, okay? I make this stuff. I'm just kidding. Little quick stuff. Quick shot here, Price. 6-6 going into postseason. Where are you thinking?
Well, it's an improvement off last year. So, we're not going down. We're going up. It's not much of an up.
It's a trend. Yep.
Trend up.
You're definitely going up.
Hey, that's how Saban was his first year. He won the bowl game, 7-6.
I do think, though, that this is a season, looking back on it, that could have very easily been 8-4.
Yeah.
It could have been 8-4. Again, and 2 of those wins potentially being against Georgia and Alabama.
I mean, that's
Agreed.
That's a legit statement.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean, now when it comes down to it, we didn't win those games, right? The record is the record. I'm not going to get into all like, oh, it was the refs' fault. Like, no. If you win a game, you win a game. If you lose a game, you lose a game. That's the record. But this is a season that, while it was a trend upwards, could have had an even higher slope up.
Yeah, very inconsistent.
Very inconsistent.
I've seen it.
The offensive play.
I mean, you look great against us and Georgia defensively. They looked really good, and then LSU went in there and hung 50.
Yeah,
and which they did against a lot of people, but
A&M,
it's like
incredible against too. Which it's just been LSU and A&M who had done really well against our defense. It'd be one thing, but then you also add in, and I mean no disrespect to New Mexico State. That's a solid football program, but
they shouldn't come into Jordan Hare and win by 3 touchdowns.
Absolutely not.
Agreed.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Just shouldn't happen.
Which I was pissed about. I said it going into it, and numerous Auburn fans have asked me. They're like, "Oh, you're happy about it?" No, I'm not. I'm not happy about it.
Sure.
Why? Because they got all their marbles on this game.
Yeah.
They got all of it. It's got nothing to lose. They got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
They would have been what? It would have been 6 and 6 now. So you've been 7 and 4. 7 and 4.
7 and 5. Yeah.
7 and 5. Yeah, that's right. 7 and 5 going into the game. You go into it. All right. A couple bad plays happen. It's over. Now you lose against New Mexico State. Worst loss in 15 years.
31 years.
I'm not 30-something years. Okay, fine. I'm not saying that against Auburn fans. The reason I say that, I've seen that game, okay? We happen to have that happen in 07, okay?
Louisiana Monroe game?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, I've seen that game before. Everybody's like, oh, you're happy. You're a Bama guy. You're happy they won the game. No, I am not happy they won that game. I wish Auburn had won that game and then Alabama win this game the way they did. Sure, fine. Yeah. But no, I'm not happy that Auburn lost that game because it only makes Alabama look better when it comes to that, yes. But no, I wasn't happy about Auburn losing that game. No. And that's me being me. I don't care what anybody says. You got a Bama fan out there who wants to call out against me? Hit me in the direct messages. You know where I'm at.
Also, would look better for Alabama's playoff chances if Auburn had won last week.
A lot better.
Yeah, like a
lot better.
This will keep us out unless we get a loss ahead of us. This will keep us out of the playoffs. Struggling against a 500 team.
I need somebody else kind of unexpected to lose.
We're already getting penalized for the USF win more than we're getting penalized for the Texas loss. But and this won't help. The fact that a 6-5 Auburn team that lost to New Mexico State by 3 touchdowns took us to the fourth goal from the 30. So
not good.
What's the Washington score?
Here's our fate. Florida State, Florida. I don't know the score of that game, but I
guess you're going.
Florida's up 12-7.
I changed my pick earlier. You know, I've had some ishy.
Kentucky beat Louisville, so they're out.
I'm screwed on that. I wasn't worried about Louisville, but I need
Washington beat Washington State.
No, hey, Louisville's all next week against Florida State in the ACC championship. I need Louisville to butt that.
So Washington knocked off Wazoo, so Washington's still in it. That's Washington. That was big. So they got Oregon next week. That's for everything.
Yep.
Yes, we agree. Liquefy. FSU is going down either tonight or next week. They just have to.
We have to. We need it. We need it as Bama fans.
I mean, surely FSU can't win with their backup.
Obviously, we have got to have us win next week. And I know, Price, thank you for joining us. I know you're off. But, you know, I mean, I don't know much else to say it. Static about the win. Upset with how we have to make it so freaking difficult to win a game in these games. Yes, Bama fatigue is real.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I would agree with that.
Bama fatigue is real, and if that's the case, to hang one of those early season wins or losses off us, we might as well just schedule some scrub team like a lot of these other teams do.
I mean, if we pounce
USC,
Georgia next week, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
I'll say this: how if you were able to knock the number one team off in the country and beat them substantially? How that happens? Oh, what we got? Somebody. Yeah. Oh, he's back in. Hold on 1 second. Y'all keep it up. Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
So, yeah. Anyway, so that's what we'll see. This if we scrub Georgia, not scrub, but I mean if we beat them like we did 2 years ago, I just don't see how they can keep Alabama out. But they will. If Oregon wins out and Texas wins out, we're done. In Washington, because they'll be out if Oregon wins.
If Oregon wins out, that's going to be tough. I mean, personally, I love Bo Nix, so like I hope he gets the Heisman. I really do, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's going to be I feel for the committee this year because there's a lot of ways it's going to be a really tough call.
This would have been a good year for the 12-teamer.
Oh, it would have. Absolutely.
This was a bad year for the last 4-teamer because there's like 6-7 teams legit, 8 teams legit claims to.
Yeah.
I mean, Ohio State, even though they lost today,
they're still really good.
They should be playing for the conference championship rematch with Michigan next year if the non-division format was in place right now. But instead, Iowa and their 2 losses will go into that game.
Can you imagine a playoff, though, where somehow Michigan and Ohio State make it in and they have to play each other in the playoff? That would be with Harbaugh back.
No, that'll never happen.
It'll never happen, but that would be that'd be crazy. I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at it right now, who do you think your 4 in the playoff would be?
As of today,
assuming an Alabama win against Georgia, who are you seeing in the playoff?
If Florida State wins out, they'll be in.
Yeah.
If Washington wins out, they'll be in.
Mm-hmm.
Texas wins out, they'll be in. And then I think we would be number 4.
Over Georgia?
We will be.
Yeah.
Yes, because we beat Georgia at number 1 and the conference championship. Georgia would be a one-loss non-conference champion. Our only loss would be against Texas, and Texas would be right ahead of us. Regardless of if they win out and we win out, we'll be right behind them. So if they go in at 3, I think Bama goes in at 4. If Texas, whatever goes in at 2, then I think Bama goes in at 3. We'll be, I think, 1 spot behind Texas wherever Texas lands. If they win out.
Obviously, if Georgia wins the SEC championship, like that's.
Yeah. If Georgia beats us Saturday, they're easily the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Not even a question.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, I think.
And if Michigan beats Iowa, then Michigan will be in.
Yeah. That's true. I forgot about Michigan. I don't know.
They're in. They're in.
Michigan should be in.
That was the whole thing, and I wasn't. The whole thing was this. I'm sorry. I missed y'all a little bit there, but Georgia, Alabama, whoever. I mean, even a one-loss Georgia does not get in without a title. I say the same thing for whoever lost in the Big Ten, which would be Ohio State. I did pick them. They lost, so I was wrong on that. So now it comes down to this: Ohio State. I'm sorry, Michigan. Florida State.
If Georgia, Michigan beats Iowa, if Michigan loses to Iowa, they're out.
Yeah,
true.
But I don't think it happened because here's the thing.
There's any chance. I think Michigan's going to beat them by 30, but I'm just saying.
I do, but that defense for Iowa is legit. Yeah. They can't score nothing.
Can't score.
They can stop score.
So yeah, I think Michigan wins that by a lot. So yeah, So if Michigan wins, and we beat Georgia, Michigan will go in at number 1. And then if Oregon beats Washington, Texas beats Oklahoma State, then I think, and then Florida State wins out. Florida State will go in at number 2 just because they're undefeated. And then I think they would leave us out. I think Oregon would be 3 and Texas would be 4 and we would be 5. I told Price wherever Texas lands, we'll be a spot behind him if we both win out.
Yeah, I think that's honestly a really good. That's a good.
It's agreed. Yes, it's unfortunate, and I'm gonna be.
Yeah, but it could very well happen. We have to have help. Our destiny is not in our hands.
After everything that happened last year, and everything be in front of us, and then us be a 2-loss team, and have us be able to have a chance to make it, and then
yes, Matthew, happened. Washington is out if Oregon beats them in a close game in the Pac-12 championship.
No,
Washington is out.
No, I heard a bunch of stuff like this. They were talking about if
my opinion,
the Michigan Ohio State game. They're like, oh, what if they're a 1-loss team without a title?
Not this year.
They're a 1-loss. Not this year. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe other years you could have made a case, but not this year.
It's too competitive this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially if you have 4 or 5 1-loss conference champions, a 1-loss team that lost in the conference championships not getting in.
Yeah.
I think in the last 10 years of this playoff format, this is the most competitive going into the last one of the 4 teams.
I'd say it's up there, if not the most competitive. I would say
they're versus the first year. That's about it.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this, because obviously we're, as an Auburn fan, right? We play Georgia every year during the regular season, right? I have to deal with fans every year. And for me, when we've gone and played them in the SEC championship in Atlanta, it was almost like going to a Georgia home game, right? I mean, there are so many Georgia fans in Atlanta. They fill up those seats in Atlanta. I mean, I know you guys talked about how the matchup was a lot better against Georgia than it was maybe against Auburn. But I mean, this is a very, very good
fan game. You're talking about fan-wise. So what you're saying, Bryce?
I'm talking about just you have that atmosphere that Atlanta, the not Georgia Dome, Mercedes-Benz Stadium atmosphere. You have a very, very well coached and very, very athletic Georgia team.
You're talking about Bryant-Denny East?
Bryant-Denny East?
Yeah, so what Mercedes-Benz is.
Is that what you call it?
The Georgia, well, a lot of Bama fans call the old Georgia Stadium Bryant-Denny East. Now this one we've been okay. We've been there very often.
Quite
We're
often.
gonna have to play our best game. That's it. No ifs and buts about it. Our best game of all year.
We need good Milroe. We need decisive attacking Milroe. We don't need passive tentative Milroe.
And he was tentative a little bit in this game. He was
tentative several places that really could have aggressive. If he's aggressive and decisive, it's not even. There's not even going to be a 4th down play at the end if Milroe is the Milroe we saw against LSU that took what the defense gave him and made him pay with his legs. We did not see him tonight.
No.
Go ahead, Price. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying I agree. I was expecting Milroe to be a lot more aggressive tonight than he was.
Yes, I was too.
I was very much expecting him to be much more aggressive.
That's a big reason that Auburn stayed in the game, I think. I mean, besides the fact that our defense played pretty well.
Yep.
And offensively, we couldn't stop the run. But I don't think any of that matters if Milroe doesn't play so tentative.
And I don't know, is that
the attacks? I think it's all.
It's very tentative.
Do you think that's a him thing, or do you think that's more of a?
It's a him.
I think it's him.
It's a him thing.
I think it's him.
Very a him thing.
He reverted back to early in the season before he discovered that he could outrun everybody.
Yeah.
He just kind of reverted back to that, and he saw flashes of it where he took off running, but he kept looking like he was going to die on the pass hill, like pass. I'll wait for it, waiting. I'll throw it, or I'll float out of bounds. I'll flick it out of bounds instead of planting his foot, seeing the pocket, seeing the hole, seeing the field, and taking off running when it was there.
Come on, Jeff. Come on. You got to agree with me here. He did not try to force it. He did not try to force the pass like he did.
I agree with that.
I mean, he made some
He threw it away when he needed to throw away.
He made some plays. He made some really bad plays.
But there are several plays that he could have taken off and gotten 15 to 20.
Agreed.
And keep going. Keep moving. And he passed him up. Wouldn't take the seam
for next week
for just whatever reason. He just hesitated.
It's for next week.
I mean, I'll get
all I got to pray for.
I would be an opposing team's quarterback in Jordan Hare. That sounds like a nightmare.
Tough job.
It is a nightmare. Yeah. I was there last week. I was worried about that 5'9" Mexican quarterback that in New Mexico State that they had. I was like, this guy's about to get torched. And then I saw what he did, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Unlike other than him, I mean, but like I thought Milroe. I think the guy's just so athletic. I mean, he can just if he puts it to it, he'll make a play.
He doesn't trust his legs sometimes,
right?
Or he wants to be a passer first, so he's like
5 yards. He's like
if I wait long enough, they'll be open and I'll get it in there. But
I'll say this:
he just doesn't. He
is
didn't tonight.
Nick Marshall. I'll say that he has got the legs of Nick Marshall, but
you're right.
But the ability,
he's a way better thrower than Nick Marshall ever dreamed.
He is. It is, but does he have those decision-making skills? It's not about the athleticism part. He is got a better arm than he did, by the way, on there. But Bowers is out.
Could be big. This could be big news. So I'm gonna get into that game when we log off here in a second. But no. 3-point win. It was not pretty. I certainly was hoping for a more dominant win heading into next week, but this is good vibes for next week because we struggled to get out of Jordan Hare alive 2 years ago, and then really played well against Georgia in the championship game, SEC championship game. So maybe this is kind of a similar thing. Survive Jordan Hare and play well, and play well versus the Bulldogs in Atlanta next week. So that's all I can hope for. Hope we have aggressive assassin Milroe. If we do that, I think we have as good a chance to beat them as anyone. If tentative Milroe that played a good chunk of night plays like that next week, I don't know.
Lose by 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns.
I don't know that we can
regardless. I'm sorry. 2 touchdowns.
We'll see. We shall see, my friends. We shall definitely see. But Price, man, thanks for coming on and taking the medicine as an Auburn fan. I know that's a tough thing to do after an Iron Bowl loss, but
I'm used to it. It's been a minute.
It's okay. No, hey. All I say is this to Price is, thank you for coming on and being the fan who can take it, because we've been on the boxer's lip, especially last year, and we wanted somebody who can at least understand and take the punishment, and somebody who understands the game, and who loves it the way it is played, and sometimes the way it goes is the way it's laid out for you. Couple missed face mask call on a kickoff that was atrocious, that I think should have been called for Auburn.
But it doesn't matter. Like, it was a 5-yard difference. That's all. It's only 5-yard difference.
An offsetting penalty, but that's the way it is.
If they call that, Auburn's on the 10. They didn't. Auburn was on the 5. So it was literally a 5-yard difference.
It's one of those.
I'm being fair.
But it was egregious. I mean, it was so obvious. He ripped his helmet off his head.
His neck went 90.
How do you miss that?
Yeah. It was.
What was that against LSU a couple years ago?
Yeah, Jalen Waddle, when he got his head twisted around almost, and then he ran it back for a touchdown.
No call. No, it
happens, he scored.
Bro. It happens. So, Bryce, thank you for being the way you are and being at least an understandable fan.
Appreciate you coming on, Bryce. It was nice to have you on the show.
Please
join us Tuesday night. You're welcome to come on anytime.
Yes, we love open opinions. We do because
everybody's got them.
That's one of our things. We're about everybody's got them, and we like all SEC fans. Is that it? We might be a bunch of Bammers here, and that's for
we are
all
smart
of you out there.
We are open. Any fan base is welcome to come in and talk and get in the comments and talk and give opinions and come back at us. Any fan base is welcome. We welcome other opinions and other,
no matter how wrong it is,
other fan bases, other fans.
I'm kidding.
We welcome it all. So.
I'm kidding. Yeah. No, I love a different opinion at least let me to see maybe your perspective of it as either a Michigan fan or an Ohio State fan or USC. We like to see that. That's what we want, interaction from everybody all around the world, all around the country, because, this is our bread and butter, college football. This is what makes us happy. And I love college basketball. I love baseball. I really do. But this is what makes us happy. This is what makes us happy.
We breathe down here. So,
and I'll be biased to it. I love football. That's what I love. Yep. I love it. So,
absolutely.
Well, I got nothing else, boys. What you got?
Well, War Eagle to the Auburn people out there. Tough loss, but we'll see you guys next year.
Yeah.
And roll Tide to the Bams out there for a big win.
Roll Tide.
Good luck on that. Good luck on that SC championship game, guys. I don't want to go as far as say you're going to need it, but that's going to be a game.
We are going to need to play better than we played today. That's for sure.
That's going to be a football.
We need it. We
All right.
need it.
Roll Tide, everyone. See everyone later.
War Eagle.
Roll Tide.
Bye.